What's up, everybody? It's that time of the week again. It is Snap Count Monday, a little bit later than we usually do it, but I wanted to let my video from this morning stay at the top of the queue for a little bit longer because I think the things that were said in that video were important for people to think about and digest because it's going to be a recurring thought that people have as this season goes on. All right. We are, however, going to get down to business here. We are going to take care of things as we usually do, and we have Snap Count Monday to get through. And the news in terms of Snap Count Monday, mostly pretty good. The Seahawks had a second straight game with 70 plus snaps on offense. After two games to start the season of 55 or fewer, we've now had two in a row of 70 or more. And the reasons why this happened are manifold, and they're pretty much all good. The Seahawks are having a lot of success on third down. They're having a lot of success with shorter and intermediate plays. And these things have combined to allow the Seahawks to stay on the field for longer and run more plays. And what this season so far, in some ways, and I know it's early, I know it's just 4 games, and really, when you're talking about a high success rate, we're talking about 2 games, the last two, is that while big plays are nice, while big plays help, while big plays are part of any successful offense, sometimes too many big plays is actually detrimental. And sometimes it's better to have an offense that can matriculate the ball down the field the way these Seahawks are. So I think that's one of the interesting takeaways, and I knew it was the case going into this season, but I didn't think we'd get such stark evidence of it so quickly here. But in any case, now that we know that the number of offensive snaps is good, let's look through the players. Running backs. Rashad Penny had 48 of the 70 snaps we had on offense, so he got a bulk of the carries, bulk of the snaps, bulk of the touches, of course, which makes sense, which is correct. Very obviously, that should be something that continues to be the case for the rest of the year as long as he's here. Kenneth Walker saw a significant uptick in his snaps, up to 25, more than double what he had his previous career high of 12. And he got the ball more than he usually has, and I believe the production is coming. One reason why this probably happened was Travis Homer was out, but Travis Homer was out pretty much all of last week, and DJ Dallas actually got more touches than Walker. So we can also say that Kenneth Walker didn't make a big mistake that cost him snaps this week like he did against the Falcons. So good for him, and DJ Dallas gets 3 snaps. Okay, wide receiver, and this is interesting. In a game where we had 70 snaps from offense, our leading snap getter at wide receiver was Tyler Lockett with 55. Metcalf was right behind him at 53. So a lot of snaps with 1 or even 0 receivers on the field is what that means. And we know we're using a lot of 3 tight end sets. We know we're doing a lot of interesting things in terms of our formations and personnel. But this is a pretty surprising number to me. We're talking about 15 snaps with no Lockett and 17 snaps with no Metcalf. That's a lot less than it's been in previous weeks. In previous weeks, it was more like maybe 4 or 5, maybe 6 or 7, not 15 to 17. So there's some interesting things going on with this offense, and you got to say, it's working quite well. And I know Metcalf and Lockett are making big money, and you don't want to take them out of the game too much, but we're doing some interesting things with our offense that just weren't there last season. So I'm not against it as long as it continues to work. At the end of the day, right, I'm a fan. And while I want the team to work in ways that make sense to me, more than anything, I want something that is productive. And the offense yesterday was, well, as productive as you can ever be, pretty much. Dwayne Eskridge, he's slowly working his way back out of the doghouse. 19 snaps on offense, got a couple of touches, had a first down. He got hurt at the end of the game. It didn't look too serious. But if he's working his way out of the doghouse, that's obviously great news. I would really like to see him get a punt return at some point. I know we're scared about the injury, but at a certain point, you can't just be terrified of the worst case scenario. We don't really have anyone else who can return. I mean, we're putting Lockett back there. How is that better? If Lockett gets hurt, is that better? No. So yeah, I'd like to see Eskridge do it, even though I know the risks. Goodwin still got more snaps than Eskridge, however, 29. He is consistently getting about 25 to 30 snaps a game. Not a ton of production from him, but he's doing his job. I don't have any big issues there. He's fine. Penny Hart had 2 snaps, and Derek Young had 0. So things are starting to work towards where I thought they would be before the season started, but we're not quite there yet. Tight end Will Dissly saw most of the snaps by a pretty large amount, 51. So he was actually on the field almost as much as Lockett and Metcalf, and more than Rashad Penny. So we can see that his versatility as a player is helping him get on the field more. Noah Fant was down to 41 snaps. Well, I should say up to 41, excuse me. But he was 10 below Dissly. Parkinson still had a lot with 25. So we're seeing a lot of all 3 tight ends. And surprisingly, Dissly's kind of emerging as the primary tight end. Again, the offense is playing well enough right now to where there's certainly no complaints you can make. So life is good. Can't really say the same for the defense necessarily because they're not playing very well. But snap count wise, let's see what we can uncover. So first of all, a lot of snaps on defense. But for once, we can't blame the offense at all, right? Like, the offense did everything they could to help the defense. And 74 snaps later, they were only able to do so much. 74. So defensive line, the rotation on the defensive line overall seems pretty good. Poona Ford had 41 snaps, makes sense. Al Woods 34, sounds about right. Shelby Harris 43, okay. I didn't see a big impact from him. Quentin Jefferson 44. Oh, excuse me, guys. 44 snaps for Quentin Jefferson. Brian Monet with 21. This one's interesting to me. Brian Monet's our biggest guy. Brian Monet is like 360 pounds minimum, 360 pounds at least. And we're struggling to stop the run. And I know a lot of it is outside zone runs that Monet wouldn't necessarily help with, but Monet is a guy you gave a bunch of money this offseason, although at this rate he's not going to see any of it, or very little of it. And he's been good before. He's had moments where he looked like one of the best players on the defense. And then he fights through injuries and looks bad for a while, but then when he gets healthy again, he looks good. So I don't know why he's not playing. You gave him that extension, you kept him around, you've seen him play at a high level, and now that this year has started, he's played less than Shelby Harris, who has basically missed 2 full games. I don't get it. Problem with his defense, but you gave him money. He's here. He's like I said, at least 360 pounds. Get him in there. Edge rusher. So we are officially in Darrell Taylor watch mode here because in a game where we played 74 snaps, he had 34. So less than half officially. That's a worrying sign. Boye Mafe almost played more snaps than him. And honestly, Taylor probably would have played fewer snaps than 34 if Darrell Johnson didn't get hurt in this game and have to leave. So Nwosu has emerged as the clear number 1 edge rusher on this team. He played 60 snaps, which, by the way, that's probably too much. But he kind of has to because the guys behind him are not pulling their weight. So Taylor, look, this is heading in a bad direction. You didn't have a big impact yesterday, so I don't know where we go. But good to see Mafe earn more snaps. I think he played fairly well. I think he did his job. One of the guys on the defense who I didn't see any big problems with, playing the run much better than Darrell Taylor, and he's finding his own ways to contribute. And look, I will say this for Taylor. Even though he didn't make a big impact, people still respect his pass rush skills. He's getting chipped constantly out there. I can't ignore that impact. So that's good, but his inability to play run defense is really holding him back. And I don't know if it's going to get better, but as of right now, you can't even say he's massively impacting our pass rush. So something's got to change. Inside linebacker, pretty much what you would expect for Jordan Brooks, 74 snaps, so every snap. Cody Barton, however, was down to 46, which, I mean, good. Good. I think that's probably 46 snaps too many. I wanted to see what Barton could do this year. I wanted to see if he could tap into some previously unmarked well of ability this year in his fourth year, contract year, finally getting a chance to play, getting out from Bobby Wagner and from behind Bobby Wagner and BBK. But no, it's not there. And it's at the point now where I think it's so hopeless you may as well get somebody else. And I don't care who it is. I really don't care who it is anymore. I'd prefer it to not be Nick Bellore, who actually played 4 snaps. But the fact that after 3 straight games of playing almost every snap, or every snap, he played like less than 2/3, that's an indication that it may not be much longer here. And hopefully we have another option that's at least a little bit better, because the guy can't do anything. Cornerback, a little bit more mixed this week, a little bit different than previous weeks, where we basically just played 3 guys. Sidney Jones played 22 snaps, didn't notice much positive from him. Woolen played all but 4 snaps, and I think he played fairly well. He gave up some stuff, but that's going to happen, guys. I mean, I saw some people going at him in the comments for some of the catches he gave up, but, like, he's a cornerback. You're going to give up catches, especially in a game like this. Michael Jackson, 48, so he actually wasn't on the field for a lot of snaps. Kobe Bryant actually played more, 58 snaps, and I think he played a better game. Ryan Neal got on the field a lot in multiple capacities, I noticed, and I thought he actually showed up in a positive way. So rooting for Ryan Neal at this point, because we have a need for additional defensive depth right now in the in the secondary. And Ryan Neal, 36 snaps, more than I would like him to play generally speaking, but we're a little desperate right now. Hopefully we won't be as desperate when Trey Brown gets back. But this mix of snaps that we used for these players is pretty interesting. I find this to be kind of compelling, that it seems like Michael Jackson got pulled out of the game. To my knowledge, he didn't get injured, and we put Sidney in, and Sidney didn't look much better. I don't know what to say about that. And look, Sidney Jones played really well for us last year. I have no doubt of his ability. I have no doubt of his competency as a cornerback under Pete Carroll. But there are a lot of things wrong with this defense that are probably making life really hard for just about everybody on this defense, including Sidney Jones. So, interesting mix of snaps here. Safety, we had Quandre Diggs at 74 snaps, every snap. And Josh Jones, that's another guy who needs to get out of here, because I've seen enough. And this was also after 2 straight games of playing every snap. He missed 15. I believe he got pulled out for a little bit of Ryan Neal, and he should be, because he can't do anything right. I'm sorry. He got a chance. I was excited for his chance. He was hyped up as being somebody who really, really performed well in the preseason and training camp, but he doesn't have actual NFL attributes. He's not fast enough. I'm seeing a lack of effort on some plays. And at the end of the day, he's just not it. So if you want to bring in somebody, that's fine. If Joey Blunt's healthy next week, put him in there. It cannot be worse. It literally cannot be worse. And it seems like the team is already aware of that by the fact that he missed so many plays in this game. So that's the rundown of the snap counts for this week. A lot of interesting information. Some of the trends are emerging. You're starting to see this team lose faith in some of the players on defense, like Darrell Taylor getting his snaps cut somewhat significantly, especially given the fact that we had 74. Cody Barton, to a certain extent, I would say Michael Jackson, Josh Jones. Like, these are guys who need to either step up immediately or get on the first train out of Seattle. But I do consider most of the stuff we saw on the offense to be good news, so that's cool. All right, I'll see you guys later. Going to be on Twitch. We're going to be doing things a little bit different tonight on Twitch, by the way. We're going to do a tier list. So if you want to see that, tune in sometime after dinner. I don't know exactly when, but I hope to see you guys there. Go Hawks.